Hi there. Welcome back to the Rare Book Views channel where I talk about how much I love books and reading, collecting, all the book things. Thank you to everybody who has commented or subscribed. Apparently, I just hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you to all 1,000 of you. And today, I am very excited to tell you I have finished the To Be Read shelf. I'm very excited. It always feels like a huge occasion. I'm loving that I have this system, and I'm really happy that I generally have a few stacks of books here waiting to be read. And it sometimes makes me a little nervous. It's got this big obligation that I'm supposed to read all these books. So now I've started setting up just one shelf of books and reading those first. And it really does feel like I'm not as overwhelmed and aimlessly wandering the bookstores, buying more books when I don't need them. See, now I have a reason to always buy more books because you never know what will be next. So on the shelf, what I read this time, so much fun. I had really good books. It seems like it took a long time. I had a couple that took a while to get through. And then I was on vacation at some point and I read some Kindle library books. So for these guys, some really great stuff. First, I read the Hocus Pocus sequel, the all-new sequel. And the name is not on the cover. I remember noticing this the first time I talked about it. Written by A.W. Jantha. Doesn't make you want to know what the A.W. stands for. It always makes me puzzled when people use their initials. The first part of this book is the original movie. If you've watched it every year since it came out, then you'll be very familiar with the plot. But the second half, I think, was the potential plot of the new movie. So there is some real difference. And I enjoyed this thoroughly. It was a very fun October, get ready for the season read. I endorse it highly. And also easy, fast read. This was really fun. Watch Me Disappear by Janelle Brown, a suspense mystery type. Really fun, a lot of twists, some anticipation, well written. Set in California. If you, like me, like to read a book set in the place that you're going to go on vacation, I did not go to California, but it would be great if you were going for the West Coast or something like that. Really good one. Enjoyed that. I would love to read something else by that author. Stephenson. Termination Shock. Neal Stephenson, I really like his stuff, and when I like it, I really like it, and then some of his stuff gets a little weird for me. So I really liked the Cryptonomicon, which I think was the first sort of cyberpunk sci-fi, and he has a bunch of things in this vein that are sort of engineering problems or software type solving a problem, and I think they're really interesting. And then he has some that get more into almost a religious idea of evolution of society and the afterlife, and I just do not love them as much as I love the more cerebral sci-fi hard sciences. And this is one of those. It's about the environment and some sort of hypotheticals, and I thought it was really fun. It's in the future, but not so far in the future that anything is possible. So I thought it was cool, and I thought that this is one of those Neal Stephensons where he's got multiple threads, multiple plots, and they all kind of come together at the end, and I like it. But it was just a hair over 700 pages. So it took a few minutes to read that one, and I really liked it. But that one was more of a good for you, learn things, think about things kind of book, and it did take me a while to get through. I read a vintage Agatha Christie, as I have started doing, and I really enjoyed it. This is a book club edition, but it's really fun. It's got a cool cover art. You can tell it's book club. It says it on the dust jacket, so that's helpful. There's no price on this, so that's one of the other ways that you can tell that it was book club. I think a vintage Agatha Christie, if it's book club or not, I don't personally care. They're not particularly valuable, but they are a little bit harder to find, I think. This one, the copyright page says 1966, so kind of later in the Agatha game. And the lingo, the slang was hilarious. So I don't know what was going on in the 60s where Agatha was, but I did not get some of these references. Really good. The Third Girl, it was really fun. I thought it was really perfect for the Agatha genre, and it made me really happy. Oh yes, A Woman of Intelligence by Karin Tanabe, really great. I got this on my list of things based on one of the year-end best books of some year, and it made me think I've really got to start doing that. I haven't done it yet for the end of this year. I've got to start perusing those and getting good suggestions. This was on my list for a long time. It was hard to find. It was not about what I thought it was going to be about. It was really interesting. It got sort of really delved into something in detail. So it's in a certain part of New York City, and you feel like I've been there now. I've seen the storefronts, and I know what's going on. This one, sadly, I did not realize this when I bought it. In the margins, nice to books, don't read the margins. Kristin Hannah, The Four Winds. Kristin Hannah, so amazing. Historical fiction that she researches, wonderful. Like, you've been transported in time and space. She makes me cry every single time. This one, so interesting. The Dust Bowl. I kind of knew about the Depression and the Dust Bowl and why they were related, but I didn't completely understand that I was reading a theme here about the environment. I didn't really realize that getting in that I knew about the Dust Bowl, but I don't think that I had ever learned it in a way that was human created. We kind of did that to ourselves. We made some poor choices. And I just never really thought about it, or I never read about it that way. And she did an amazing job. Just wonderful. So if you want to feel something, definitely The Four Winds, or really any of Kristin Hannah. She's wonderful. Second, Agatha Christie, At Bertram's Hotel. Just wonderful. This one is, I don't think that this is a book club edition. It's price clip, so I can't tell you that. It's by Dodd Mead and Company. And you can see here, whatever the price was, somebody took that off. So we've lost it to time. Let's see. 1965, so right around the same time. It says second printing, which is really interesting. Dodd Mead and Company, sometimes they do that. Second printing, possibly first edition, maybe. The Flatshare by Beth OBrien. This is another one that was on my wish list for fiction, and I ran across this, and I started reading it, and I just so taken with it. This is a very fun, very frothy. Just enjoy it. The storytelling style, the narration style, pretty unusual. I thought it was really great. I thought this was very ambitious. That the way that the author wrote this, it's from two points of view, first person, and the speech pattern, the sort of habits and the way that people talk is very unique. So she really gave a lot of thought to making these not just a believable character in first person, but two of them. So I really liked this. And I read the first, say, 100, and I was really in it. And there is something about this typeface I couldn't take. So I got it. It was available from the library, and I finished it on the Kindle. I don't know what to say about that. I've got to find somebody with really good eyesight to donate it to them, because it's wonderful. What a fun read. Really, really good. This is another good for me. Bill Bryson. I love Bill Bryson. I think he's hilarious. He wrote A Walk in the Woods about hiking the Appalachian Trail, I think was the first thing I read by him. Very funny, very witty, and sort of sharp, sarcastic wit. This book is a history book that I had not heard of, and it's called One Summer. I think the subtitle is Americana 1927. So it's the summer of 1927, and all of these things are happening. Baseball is in its prime, Lindbergh flying around, all kinds of things going on. And I thought this is going to be such a great dose of a very specific part of history with the Bill Bryson very sarcastic wit. And it is not funny. I don't know what was going on. If Bill Bryson decided this is going to be his serious book, or if he was going through a troubled time. There's a couple glimmers of his dry humor, but mostly this is history, and it is dense. Who knew so much happened in 1927? I enjoyed it. I feel like I learned a lot. It's really detailed, so there's a lot of context. The footnotes at the end are mind-blowing how well researched it is. Really good. Glad I picked it up. Glad I read it. Not what I thought I was getting into. An avalanche. This one was exactly what I thought I was getting into. The Notorious RBG. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This was sort of an online, it wasn't a web page, it was just sort of a following. People started calling her the Notorious B.I.G., RBG. And it took on a life of its own. So the sort of artists behind it, the creators of this idea that compared her with the Notorious, did sort of a history of her life. And there's really cool stuff in here. It's very pictorial, but there's a lot of stuff in here from her actual opinions. And then they're sort of footnoted to explain the significance. So they give you all of her history and then the cases that she got really personally involved in and why she took the positions that she did. It will at times possibly make you furious, as it did me, about society. And also Ruth Bader. She lived a good long life, but it's really sad that she's passed. So this is a nice way to sort of pause and think about all the work that she did for our country. I thought it was really great. And it was a really fun read. It's a lot of history, and her decisions are very legalese, but the footnotes really help. So that one was good for me, but not quite as difficult to get through. And then We're Black. This is another one I just read somewhere. Somebody loved it. It's actually a reprint of a 1940s detective novel. And on the back, I just noticed the Hitchcock of the written word. I mean, there are Hitchcock collections, and I guess he didn't write them, but okay. It does make sense. This is a very fun 1940s style. Some of the lingo that gets used in it is very 1940s. The plot, though, so good. It's one of those, there's a murder, spoiler, it's a detective novel, and you think that, okay, we're just kind of tossed into the middle of it, and we're just hearing, and then more stuff happens, and it all comes together. There's some good twists, really well written, very fun read. Cornell Woolrich is the author. The Bride Wore Black. This is really fun. And I thought this was going to be slightly more challenging because in the 40s, the written language can be a little harder to wade through, but this was not molasses. This was not hard. It was just really, really fun. And then occasionally it would make me laugh that the sort of slang and references. And last but not least, The Evolution of Calpurnia Tate by Jacqueline Kelly. The Newberg Book Award winner. It's a young adult novel. I picked this up at a book sale. So I knew about this book. I've read a lot of reviews. People really loved it. Very popular. I have nieces and nephews, and I thought, I wonder if this would be good for them. I'll read it first. And the fun thing about that, this is a book about a young lady in a certain time who is very interested in science. She has somebody in her life who turns her on to Darwin's way of thinking, and she's just very taken and enamored with this process. And this is a time and place in the United States when young ladies do not do that. And I just thought it was so cool because that resonates with people who do things that they are not expected to do or do them in a way that they are not expected to do them. That strikes a chord with me. And I'm really excited because I have several nieces who are probably not going to do conventional female role things, and I think this would be a great book for them. So really good books. I enjoyed all of them. Some of them I think were better for me than I thought they were going to be more fun, and I feel like they just made me smarter. So really good books. I feel so accomplished. I've read a whole shelf, even though I have books waiting for me. I feel great, and it was really fun. If you enjoy hearing about what I'm reading, please tell me, because I wonder if I should keep making the videos about what I'm reading or what I read. And please let me know what you're reading. I love hearing from people what they think is cool, or if there's something that I should put on my list since I have not read the reviews this year. And I just thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed and sent me a comment, because it always really does make my day. So thanks again. Happy reading.